Thanks for the support as a channel member, Richard Blythe. We're finally back up and running with our European run. Is it really a run? We're in the second knockout round of the Europa League. Apparently we got a bye in the last round that I still don't fully understand. But it is looking like this might be our only route into the Champions League next year. So, similar to last season, we need to win this to save my job. Even though we didn't win it last year, and I still saved my job. Hello and welcome to Club 4, Part 17 of Not League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have the second leg of our Europa League second knockout round game against Dynamo Kiev. You can see from there, we are 1-0 up from the away leg. So looking pretty good to get into the next round, which is a positive. Less positive is what's been going on in the league. As you can see, we got ourselves knocked out of the FA Cup. We lost to Manchester United. We've only drawn against Brighton as well. And the league is looking a little bit rough. We're in 5th place in the Premier League, 6 points behind Arsenal with 8 games to go. No more games in hand. Things are looking a little bit desperate. We do still have to play Arsenal in the league, as well as Manchester City and Chelsea and Liverpool. This is not looking like a good run-in for us. And I think we're on dodgier ground than last year, although we are performing better in the league. And I think we'd all agree it's a better side than the one we had last year. The thing I had going in my favour last year is that despite not hitting the current season goals, I was hitting all the club culture and 5-year plan stuff. But now, because we signed a load of Brazilians, the board are very disappointed that I haven't signed any English players for a while. So we're now failing one of the club vision things, their club culture things. We're also failing. They're devastated that we don't have the best youth system in the country anymore, which I maintain is not my fault. If you look at what's been coming through the youth system, and I'll show you that in a second, what am I supposed to do about that? I'm not the youth development guy, but they're upset about that too. Plus, of course, upset that we're not going to get into the Champions League through the league probably. We've got to win something. We've got to win the Europa League, I think, to save the job. If we just have a little look in the development centre as well and just have a look to see what we've got. The only decent youngster we've got is one that I signed, and he's 23, so he doesn't really count. But if we look at the under-18s, nothing. If we look at the under-23s, for actual under-23 players who came through our youth system, the best one is this guy. He's leaving. Yikes. But to be fair, he wasn't ever going to be good enough. So that's why he's leaving. Give me some good players coming through the youth system and I'll play them. They haven't. So it's not my fault that the youth system's not very good. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that. Let's go beat Dynamo Kiev and get into the next round of this competition. This is the team we're putting out there to do it. We've got Pickford in goal, a back four of Kidd, Fotheringham, Banfalvi and Kawamata, Vargas behind Gravenberch and Rott in midfield, Ali and Virginia supporting George up front. Let's get into the game. Like I say, 1-0 up from the away leg. We did look, it's similar to what a lot of our games have been recently. We looked comfortably the better team in the first leg, but we're just not scoring. And it's very upsetting. First leg means nothing. There you go. First leg means nothing. Got to win this match. That seems to have motivated them a little bit. I am hopeful that a win in this competition is going to save my job. And looking at the teams that are still in it, I don't want to tempt fate too much, but it looks like it might be a slightly easier competition to win this year than it was last year. Once it got down to the business end of this competition last year, there were a lot of very good teams here. What has just happened there? Dele Alli's flicked that on, I think, because the keeper's been sent totally the wrong way. I thought Gravenberch has just hit a weird free kick. But looking at the fact it's been given to Ali, there's obviously a flick on that I didn't see. So free kick comes in. Dele Alli, just flicks it away from the goalkeeper. His 12th goal of the season now. And he has been a new man in this new system. He's probably benefited more than anyone from the switch to a system that doesn't include the position he plays in. It's a very odd situation. He never got in the team when we actually played with an attacking midfielder. But now we don't. He's in the team all the time. Initially up front, but now in this inside forward role on the left-hand side. He's really benefited from the poor form of Jadon Sancho. And now George makes it 2-0, and fingers crossed, we are into the next round. And more importantly, we're actually scoring goals. We look like a half-decent team again all of a sudden. And I know there's a good team in here. We're a very young side. I hope the board just recognise there's a long-term job going on here at Tottenham, and there's going to reach a tipping point where a couple of these youngsters, like Vargas, Rott, I don't know, Virginia, Jair, who's not involved today. Some of the Carlos, Rosso, Banfalvi, even someone like Fotheringham, where they just take that little step up, hopefully all together, and we go from being a team that struggles to get into the Champions League to a team that wins it without really having to buy that many more players. I do think this is very close to being a finished squad here at Spurs, which would probably be a really worrying thing for the board to hear when we're still sat 5th place in the Premier League. But I look at the squad and I struggle to see any areas where it can improve. Rott is in here and should have scored. But it is a lot of very young players who I think the key now is to give them a little bit of time to get better. And I hope the board let me be the man who benefits from it, because I took a bunch of old men 2 years ago and have just thrown in a whole load of youth. So I've refreshed and rejuvenated the entire squad. Now give me time to reap what I have sown. That's my plea to the board. But we're just passing the hour mark. They're now uninterested. I think Dynamo Kiev have given up. They're collecting a lot of yellow cards as well. I think there's going to be a red card in their future if they count. They're uninterested and frustrated in equal measure, it seems. Virginia's going to come off to bring Sancho on. We're also going to take... Rosso can play in midfield. Interesting. Can you actually do it very well? He's an accomplished midfielder. You know what? We are at Spurs. Perhaps we need to do a James Burgess. If you didn't watch Non-League to Legend a few years ago, now you need to go back and watch it the last time I was at Spurs. But young striker coming to the club, but possibly with a better young striker already at the club, or arriving at the same sort of time. What do? You become a central midfielder and go on to become England captain. Now, he's probably not going to become England captain because he's Brazilian, but he might do all the other stuff. The other thing, of course, is I could have gone to 2 up top there, but of course didn't. Kawamata, lovely, clever little pass through for Sancho to chase. Sancho's brought down. We've got a penalty. I mean, that is the clearest penalty in the history of the world. It has been given after going over to the little telly. And who is this stepping up to take it? It is Dele Alli once again. And he scores. It's 3-0 on the night, 4-0 on aggregate. We are through to the next round. I didn't look at the draw when it happened because I didn't want to get excited or disheartened. So I don't know who we've got in the next round. But as is usually the case with this weird competition, the draw for the quarterfinal and the semi-final has already happened. So our route to the final is already mapped out. I just haven't looked at the map. It's just like when I go travelling. Looking at maps is for losers. Just get lost. That's the best way to explore. It's the best way to discover a new city. Just go and get lost in it. People are always telling me to get lost. Right, we've just brought Carlos on as well. He's come on for George, and hopefully he can start showing some of the awesomeness that we're expecting from him. Is he wearing gloves? I mean, I guess March, it can be a little bit chilly. Do we have a temperature on there? It's 14 degrees. Take your gloves off, for goodness sake. You don't wear gloves when it's 14 degrees. I'd be against any of my players wearing a long-sleeved shirt in 14 degrees. You've got to intimidate the opposition. Short sleeves all round. None of these undershirts either. Ooh, gloves indeed. Right, we are through to the next round. That was a good win. And hopefully we find out straight away who we're playing in the next round. Like I say, it's already been drawn. So we should find out straight away. George ending his goal drought. Dele Alli playing very well again at 31 years old. Do we have the draw for the next round? It's either Lyon or Benfica. I guess we'll find out before the Birmingham game, but I'm presuming they haven't played their match yet, else we'd know which one it was going to be. I don't know why I clicked on Lyon. So they're second in a Ligue 1, and Benfica, I don't think we've got Portugal loaded. We haven't. The fact they're in the Europa League, though, tells me we should be able to beat them. And there is the confirmation that it is Lyon in the quarter-final of the Europa League, which is going to be, I mean, it'll be tomorrow's episode, but we've got to play a few matches first. So we'll definitely do the second leg against Lyon, and then depending on how the league's going, I'll either do Man City or Watford, depending on whether I want to just show us get beaten by Man City again, or maybe do a more positive episode and show us hopefully beating Watford. Obviously, if we go and beat Chelsea, I'll probably show you Man City because we're in with a chance then. But we'll definitely do that in the next episode. But don't worry, I'm not going to forget to do the second match. I'd never do a thing like that. You should watch the Bourne series if you don't know what I'm talking about. And we're going to play Birmingham now. Right, we've done some major shuffling around for the Birmingham game. We've gone to the 5-3-2. I've had to drop these two back because, weirdly, look at the colours on here. If we put Kawamata to there, Jair's injured at the moment, by the way, which is why he's not in. Immediately, we've got red behind him and red in front of him. But if we drop him back there, suddenly he can take control of the whole of this right-hand side of the pitch, including up here, where he's still got influence. So he's getting up and down that wing. It's ridiculous. We talked about it on yesterday's episode. That needs to not be a thing. But then, to be honest, playing him there as an attacking complete wing back is basically the same as playing him further forward. It just doesn't look as clever on this bit, I don't think. But this is the team we're going for. If you're wondering why I've done it, firstly, Vargas isn't really fit to play, so we lost our defensive midfield player. I initially put Van Houston in there as a defensive midfield player. I thought, if I'm going to play a defender there, I may as well just do the back three. And then it kind of morphed into this. So Sancho drops out the team to allow us to play George and Carlos together. Ali comes in behind, and the midfield two kind of stay as they were. And I think it's worth looking at. Obviously, different personnel, but the roles are roughly similar to what they were before. So Pickford in goal, a back five. I can't believe I'm saying this on a video. Sessegnon, Van Houston, Banfalvi, Milenkovic and Kawamata. Fotheringham and João Victor in midfield. Ali behind George and Carlos up front. If it doesn't work, then what have we lost, really? Because Leo Guerrero needs a phone number, needs a squad number. I knew he needed a number of some kind. He might need a phone number, who knows? But if it doesn't work, then at least we tried it. Birmingham are the worst team in the division form-wise. So let's assertively go out there and say, come on now. We're trying something a little bit different against a team who are in horrible form. If it's ever going to work, it works in a game like this, surely. And I think we're going to go with a positive mentality to do it as well. Banfalvi is tiring already. What I'm particularly looking at is how these wide areas work, because one of the big strengths of our team when we play in our normal system is that we have Sessegnon and Jair overlapping two already very good wingers and creating awesome stuff in the wide areas. Obviously, what we've had here is George go out there and set the goal up for Ali, who's now hovering in the middle to take advantage of his goal scoring. So if the two strikers are going to drift wide, then I can live with that because they're both able to do it. They're both players who can play out on the wing. They've done very well there. And Dele Alli is just in the form of his life. What was that? His 14th goal of the season. He is very close to catching George up now as our top goal scorer, which is not what I expected from Dele Alli at the start of the season because last year he wasn't even getting in the team. It's a mad situation. It shows how good the squad we've got here at Spurs is as well, that we've got players who I'm not using who can just come from nowhere. Which is why the likes of Maddison and Gibbs-White and Greenwood, who aren't even on the bench today, hope is not lost. Take Dele Alli as your example. You might be able to force your way back into the team at some point. The key is, when you get your opportunity, play well. That's it. I'm not going to give you a run of 5 games if you're not going to play well, but come off the bench a few times. If you look good, then you get your run of games. That's how you earn a spot in my team. Dele Alli is the proof of that. Kawamata, trying to do Jair stuff. He's not very good at it. And ball over the top. We've got a back three, the central one of which is playing on a covering position. How are we still having balls go over the top of us like that? It's ridiculous. Right, I think we have played okay. We're going to guard against complacency. It's not been spectacular, but I don't think it's been disastrous either. And I guess that's a positive. Birmingham coming down the right-hand side is Sessegnon intercepts, and this is where he might not have a player to release to, but George has drifted wide again. I like what George is doing, drifting into these wide areas. It's something he can't do when he's playing as a lone striker. Cross comes into Kawamata, who hits the crossbar, and that shows just how far forward he's getting, because he's there to get on the end of a cross. So he is playing as a wing-back, even though he supposedly can't do it. And he's absolutely shattered for it, actually, looking at that. So we probably need to take him off. I've never seen a player look so tired. Goodness me. Leo Guerrero is going to come on and make his Spurs debut. Our new centre-back is going to come and make his debut, basically playing as a wing-back. Probably not the best idea. I guess we could do that. Milenkovic has played more games as a right-back for us than obviously Guerrero. Guerrero can come in and play as a normal centre-back. Milenkovic can drift out wide It'll be fine. One of the best centre-backs in the world now playing as a winger, basically. Jadon Sancho and Virginia both sat there on the bench, unable to comprehend what they're witnessing. Carlos is going to come off, and we're going to bring Rosso on for him up front. And he wants to play in the supporting role, which means George can go to the advanced forward role that he's never really got to do for us. So we get to have a look at him in a slightly different role as well, which is nice. We're seeing some of our new signings actually playing in their proper roles, which is good. And now for our final change, we're looking at fitness levels. Banfalvi is shattered as well. We're going to take him off. And I think we're going to take him off and bring on... I'm not going to bring Kid on. I'm going to bring Virginia on and just go back to our normal tactic and just shuffle everything around. Oh, we can't because we've got 2 strikers on. Hang on. What did I have in mind when I made that substitution? Right. You can do that. That back 4 is fixed. You are going to go up there. So apparently we're going to... you should be the box-to-box. You can do that. We're going to a 4-2-4, which wasn't the intention, but, I mean, it looks like it would work. That all looks good. Everyone's in a proper role. We'll leave it as that. Splendid. Try another different system. Please don't concede a goal now. League table-wise, we are still 6 points behind Arsenal, who have now jumped above Chelsea. Chelsea have a game in hand on us, though. But I think Chelsea are another one of those teams that we play. I think the jury is still very much out on that 5 at the back system. It worked against Birmingham because they're awful. But did it really work when we only beat them 1-0? Klopp can get lost. The Trillion Trophy Stadium. Who on earth... Is that what Birmingham's ground is called? That's not what it's called in real life, surely. Surely St Andrews is not now the Trillion Trophy Stadium. Because talk about irony. Goodness me. Right, we will be back tomorrow with definitely second leg of Lyon and maybe Man City, maybe Watford. We'll see. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.